What's up, Facebook Live? How you doing? If you don't know me by now, you should know who I am. I've been doing like 35 damn episodes of this shit, so if you don't know my name by now, shame on you. Shame on you. But if you know who I am, you know why I'm here. I'm probably more than likely here to talk about some wrestling, because that's basically what I do with my life. If I'm not working, if I'm not spending time with my daughter, you know, I'm either hanging out with friends, watching wrestling, or playing video games, or watching wrestling and reviewing wrestling. That's pretty much my life. Before I get started with the show I'm going to talk about, I want to I want to indirectly address a certain individual on Facebook who seems to have an issue with the videos that I do about wrestling, and not just the videos, the statuses that I make about it. As a guy I actually respect very much. He actually trained me, in the wrestling business, got me in the ring and trained me how to become a wrestler, and I'm still in the process of finishing up that training. But I think he feels that because he's trained me that he has this right to kind of, I'm not sure what the word is, kind of just give his 2 cents in whenever he wants, and I'm supposed to just sit there and be the young rookie green kid and listen because he got me in the business. But he seems to think that with these videos, I go and I shit on the WWE, and I shit on the product, and I shit on the workers and the divas and everybody. And he says, well, you shouldn't shit on a place where you want to be one day. To my response to that is, I know, even though the WWE is, of course, that's the promised land. That's where everyone who is in this business wants to be. But I pretty much accepted the fact that it's a slim to none chance that I'll ever be in the WWE. And, I talked to a guy named, you guys probably heard of him, a legend in the wrestling business, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I had a personal conversation with him about 4 or 5 years ago backstage at a show I was at, a show I was working, and he basically said that, and he didn't say this to put me down or for me to be offended by this. He basically said that I have a better chance, me or anybody else has a better chance of being in the NFL or playing for the NBA than to be a professional wrestler, especially to make it as big as WWE, because there's certain criteria that they like. Also, knowing people in the business helps, such as, The Rock and every other Samoan wrestler ever. So yeah, I basically accepted that if I can get far in the indies, that's fine. And I think that with these videos, I don't think I'm shitting on WWE. I'm giving my opinion of the product. And just because it's a product I love doesn't mean that I can't give a negative opinion about it if I didn't like what I saw. And I got that out the way with my indirect, direct approach. What's up, Mitch? But I'm here to review Backlash 2005. Now, I had posted a video on my YouTube page, basically me excited about the fact that they were bringing back Backlash in September as a brand exclusive pay-per-view for SmackDown. I'm guessing this year it's going to be for SmackDown. And I said that I was going to do every single Backlash leading up to that Backlash, which is in September 11th of this year. But I realized, I don't think I'm going to do every single Backlash. I'm just going to do the ones that I really liked. This particular Backlash I had only watched like once. Well, twice. Watched it on pay-per-view, then watched it again just now. Or I might have watched it one other time. So 2 or 3 times I've watched the show. And this was like right in the middle of the Ruthless Aggression era. This was 2005. This took place in New Hampshire, some small town in New Hampshire. I forget which town it was. But in that New England area. So we kick off the pay-per-view with Chris Jericho versus Shelton Benjamin. And spoiler alert, I ranked this match as the highest match on the card because it was the best match on the card. And, Shelton Benjamin is somebody who you're not going to get a bad match from. But speaking of Shelton Benjamin, he's supposed to be making his return to the company, or he was supposed to be making his return to the company, and I guess he got hurt and got to do surgery, so the return is delayed. which is unfortunate. I hope that when Benjamin does return, he'll return 100% and he'll be as good as he was in this match and in that era. Jericho and Shelton Benjamin had a fantastic match on this show. It was a face versus face competition, but Jericho did a lot of heelish things. Even the build up to their match at Backlash was a little heelish on Jericho's side. I believe they were in Madison Square Garden, and Jericho got his band, Fozzy, or one of the guitar players, and they were singing, shouting. Shelton is a little bitch. If I don't forget, I will post a link to that in the comments below, or I'll post a link to that song that they did on Raw in this video. Sorry if I'm dragging. I'm a little tired. I've been up most of the day working. So if I'm yawning, if I don't seem like I'm into the video as much, as because I am tired. But I wanted to get this out the way because I wanted to start watching other shows. And anyway, this match was fantastic. A lot of good chain wrestling. Shelton Benjamin, of course, has a mat wrestling background. Came in with Brock Lesnar with that same background. Jericho, of course, can adapt to any style, much like Shawn Michaels can. That's why Jericho was pretty much never has a bad match. I like when Shelton Benjamin attempted a sunset powerbomb when Jericho was standing on the apron, and Jericho countered to a Hurricane Rana. Benjamin's vertical leap is ridiculous. It wouldn't be until Kofi Kingston entered the company that Benjamin would have competition with that vertical leap. Benjamin jumped from the ring all the way to the top rope, springboard in one fell swoop, grabbed Jericho, hit a superplex. That was crazy. Benjamin's move at this point was the T-bone suplex, and nobody had kicked out of the T-bone suplex. But what I appreciated with this particular situation is that it was the rope break that saved Jericho. Jericho did not kick out. It was the rope break. And I'm happy Jericho didn't kick out of the T-bone suplex because, Shelton Benjamin, I believe since he came to Raw in 2004 in the draft, had established that as his move. And I just really appreciated the fact that it was the rope break that broke up that T-bone. This match was just a whole bunch of counters. It was like Shelton countered the line salt with his knees, and then, Jericho got the Walls of Jericho on Shelton, and it was just a Walls of Jericho counter. It was just a lot of counters. It was actually really hard to keep up with. I tried to write it down as incoherently as I could, but it ended up with a weird steamboat press out of the Walls of Jericho. It was weird, but Benjamin rolled him up. And you could see that fire in Chris Jericho, that little bit of frustration that would really plant the seeds for his eventual heel turn in like a month and a half when he started feuding with Cena. So that match was a 3.8. Like I said, highest ranked match on the card. It was the best match on the card, and it was the opener. Tag Team Turmoil for the tag team titles. The defending champions were Tajiri and Regal. And in this tag team turmoil were 5 teams. It was the Heartthrobs, the champs who I mentioned, Simon Dean and Maven, La Resistance, and Rosie and Hurricane. The Heartthrobs, Antonio and I don't know, Antonio and Chetonio or somebody. Basically a Chippendale gimmick. I guess you can call it that because SmackDown had another Chippendale gimmick tag team called the Dicks. I think the Heartthrobs were like some sort of party gimmick thing. But anyway, I don't think I've ever covered a tag team turmoil match in my episodes before. But basically how it works kind of like a Royal Rumble. You have 2 tag teams start off. And once one team gets pinned or tapped out, the other team enters. And you go through that until all teams have entered. And the last team standing is the tag team champions. Tajiri and Regal were the champions going into this match. The Heartthrobs were defeated by Tajiri and Regal. followed by Simon Dean and Maven with a pretty sickening knee trembler by Regal to take out Maven. And then La Resistance would get the tights on Regal. So at that point, we were guaranteed new tag team champions. And then it was Rosie and Hurricane would enter last, and they would capture the tag titles with a elevated body splash. Like Hurricane would jump off of Rosie's shoulders to hit the body splash. And I make my own point scale. I don't do. I like to be, because I like to be complicated, Harry. Let's just put it that way. And it makes the average funner. Like when I average all the scores together. Don't question me. That's just how I do it. This tag team turmoil match was a 3. It was a lot going on at once. You know, very short finishes, so it was kind of hard to really judge on how good or how bad this match was. Because tag team turmoils usually are just what they are, just turmoil. So I gave that a 3. We go to Edge versus Chris Benoit in a last man standing match. And this probably was my favorite match on the card. I mean, I think Jericho and Shelton Benjamin was the best match on the card, without a doubt. But Benoit and Edge was probably my personal favorite match on this card. Because of how physical it was. And most last man standing matches are physical. But what I liked about this match is something I normally wouldn't like about this match. Is that it started off really kind of slow. Not a lot of crazy shit, not a lot of crazy spots. Not a lot of chain, but a little bit of, couple lockups, couple suplexes. Started off really slow. It started to pick up once they got on the outside of the ring. Now, Edge and Benoit would redo this, I don't know if you guys remember the ladder match that Chris Jericho and Benoit had at the Royal Rumble, where Benoit did a tope through the ropes and Jericho grabbed the chair and cracked him in the head. Well, they did that same spot, but what I didn't like about it is that it was so, planned. Like, before they did the spot, Benoit threw Edge on the outside of the ring, and, they both made eye contact with each other. Benoit hit the ropes, Edge grabbed the trash can lid. Okay, well, this is what's going to happen. And they did the tope. I mean, I understand having to, getting your spot prepared, but don't make it obvious that you're setting the spot up. And they made it obvious that they set the spot up, and that killed it for me. I saw something that I had never saw in this match. I saw Chris Benoit deliver a, what up, Andrew? What up, Harry? I saw Benoit deliver a German suplex to Edge off of the ladder. That had to have been the scariest thing that I've ever seen. And I've watched this show before, and I don't remember seeing that when I watched it before. So when I watched it back, I'm like, no, Benoit's not going to German him off the ladder. And yeah, Benoit German Edge off the ladder. And you wonder why Edge has all those neck problems. Oh, that was awesome. Then it was of course, Chris Benoit missed his headbutt off the ladder. And, that headbutt. Also, have you noticed with the headbutt, Dynamite Kid is confined to a wheelchair. Daniel Bryan's retired, constant concussions. Chris Benoit, we all know what happened to him. I think they really need to do away with the headbutt. Like, that, over time, it really begins to hurt a lot of wrestlers. So, yeah. Impaler DDT on the briefcase looked good. Edge hit 2 spears. Benoit still got up. And then the match would end with Chris Benoit or Edge grabbing a brick out of the briefcase and bashing Edge in the back of the head with it. And I just thought, wow, that's got to be one of the most vicious ways I've ever seen a last man standing match end. Just a brick to the head. It's so simple but effective. I love it. I really do. So that's how the match would end. And Harry, I'm actually surprised that you're putting Benoit and Edge over Jericho and Shelton, considering Jericho is your favorite wrestler. But okay, I guess to each his own. Like I said, I don't know if you heard me. I said that Jericho and Benjamin was the better match of the night, but my personal favorite was Chris Benoit and Edge. And also, you would start to see the seed planted for Lita's heel turn when she would align with Edge, because right after that match they shot backstage to Lita watching, like with like a kind of smile on her face, like she liked what she saw from Edge. Also, the fans were I said Edge. I said Edge hit Benoit. Did I not say that? Yeah, Edge hit Benoit with the brick. I thought I said that. Anyway, you would see Lita kind of smiling as she's watching, as she was watching the match, like, and also the fans were chanting "We want Matt." So I guess that's when this whole thing broke about the affair. All right, let's go to my notes. Harry, I think you're on delay because like you're commenting on stuff I've said like 5 minutes ago. Um, oh, there was a segment. Now, everyone that watches Warren's vlogs knows that Warren hates segments on pay-per-views, especially if they don't add anything to the fucking show. And we got a diva segment where I guess Jared King Lawler got all the divas in the ring, and we're talking about the new swimsuit magazine. And then Chris Masters interrupted with his Master Lock challenge, and everybody kind of just left the ring. He called in this bodybuilder chick, and she passed out to the Master Lock. Note here, it would take 2 years before, like 2.5 years before someone would actually break the Master Lock, and it was Bobby Lashley that did it. But yeah, there was that. We go to Kane versus Viscera. This was just, I gave that a 1. I gave the Last Man Standing match a 3.5. Viscera and Kane got a 1. This match was just, I don't even know how to describe it. The best spot in the match was basically because Lita and Trish Stratus accompanied, of course Trish accompanied Viscera. Lita accompanied her husband Kane, kayfabe husband Kane. Try to say that 3 times fast. The best part of the match is where Trish went after Kane with a chair, and Lita smacked the crutch into the chair into Trish's face. That was the best part of the match, and they weren't even in the match. They were just accompanying their men. I guess I should give you guys a little bit of a build-up to this. Kane was stalking Trish because Lita wanted him to, and Viscera stepped in to save the day and lost with one of the most weakest choke slams I've ever seen. But Viscera is 500 pounds and Kane is about 3, so you're not going to expect a lot of height off that choke slam. So they hit the choke slam. Kane goes over. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Kane goes over, and then after the match is over, Viscera splashes Trish, and they really go all out with the angle of Trish being injured. She's, on the gurney, getting carried away, and actually she would not be on TV. This was in May that this happened. She wouldn't be on TV again until October. But she was the women's champion at the time, and she still got to keep the fucking title, which is bullshit. And I don't want to care I don't care if she defended it during house shows and shit. She didn't defend it on TV. She shouldn't have the belt. Anyway. I didn't give you any background on Benoit and Edge. I'll go back to that very quickly. That match came about because Benoit was going to win the inaugural Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania 21 until Edge hit him in the head, hit him in the shoulder with a steel chair. And then that kick-started their rivalry, at least to run to Backlash. All right, Kane and Viscera got a 1. All right, what else do I got written down here? HBK and Hulk Hogan versus Muhammad Hassan and Daivari. I did not write a damn thing down. I didn't write a damn thing down for this match. I didn't write shit. Pretty much, I gave this a 2.8, which is kind of odd for me because I'm a Shawn Michaels fan. And that's probably the lowest Shawn Michaels match I'll ever rate. that low, 2.8. It was just once you got past, what's up, cuz? What's up, fam? My cousin Mason Green joining in the video. Once you get past the posing and the this and the her and the shirt rip and the boot and the limited move set, once you get past the Hogan, I can't think of the word, persona, you don't really have a lot of substance. You got a basic tag team match. Muhammad Hassan and Daivari were kind of hot as heels at the time because WWE likes to do that whole I'm from a foreign country, so I'm going to get cheap heat, and anybody I face is going to get automatic face heat because they're from America. Because America! Fuck yeah! Anyway, Muhammad Hassan was actually pretty hot at this time. At this point, he had beat up JR and Jerry Lawler and Sergeant Slaughter and Eugene and all the top WWE superstars. So he would beat up Eugene at WrestleMania until Hogan made the save. And then Muhammad Hassan and Daivari would attack Shawn Michaels the next night on Raw because Michaels is from America. He's from Texas. And Texas is in America, so America! Fuck yeah! Yeah, so they beat up Shawn Michaels the next night after WrestleMania, and Michaels won in a match, a handicap match with Bischoff. The general manager of Raw at the time said, no, you're going to find a tag team partner. And then Shawn Michaels got on the camera, and he said, I want Hulk Hogan to be my tag team partner because Hulk Hogan is from America. America! Fuck yeah! So, okay, I'm done. Anyway, they had the tag match. There was no way that Daivari and Muhammad Hassan were going to go over. I mean, I'm sure Hogan has a no-lose clause in his contract. But the thing that was interesting is Muhammad Hassan had not been pinned up to this point. And he wouldn't get pinned until like a month and a half later when he wrestled John Cena, which I think was for the WWE title, right before Muhammad Hassan got drafted to SmackDown. So Daivari took the fall with the super kick, and I think Hogan pinned Daivari. That match was very boring. I actually fell asleep a couple times during it because it was just... I mean, Michaels took some of the heat. Hogan started the match, got his little shoulder tackles in, got his little... And then Michaels took the heat. Hogan got the hot tag. He did the and the boot and the leg drop and then the sweet chin music on Daivari, and then Hogan pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. It was a very boring match. And like I said, once you get past Hogan's presence, you don't have a lot of substance. And that's a common theme in a lot of Hogan's later matches. After the match was over, it was this fat guy that was in the row that had Hogan's face tattooed on his back, and it was just jiggly and it was nasty. I got a 2.8. Nothing to see here. Moving on. And that's kind of sad because I'm a Shawn Michaels fan, and I get that match kind of sucked. Another fucking segment. I hate segments in a pay-per-view, especially if they don't add anything. So Christian, Captain Charisma, comes out, and he says that this might be the last time you see me on a Raw pay-per-view because of the draft later on in the month. You don't need airtime for that. You could just have Lawler and King mention the draft and then move on. But then Christian did a rap, and it's like, I hate to say it, but I found Christian's rap to be a little bit entertaining. I couldn't help but to laugh. But I still don't think it had any place on pay-per-view. Alright, so we go to Triple H versus Batista. Ah, boy. This was just like... I mean... The story going into the match was obviously Triple H getting his rematch. But the other story was Batista is, for whatever reason, now afraid of the pedigree. Because the pedigree is the truth. The pedigree is everything. Because the pedigree is who I am about and what I am. Because I'm the game. No. It just... No, Triple H. Shut up. Basically, that's what Triple H did the whole time. Like, I wrote this down. I tallied it up. Triple H went for 7 pedigrees in this match. 7. 6 of them were countered, and the one pedigree that Triple H hit, ironically enough, the referee was down and couldn't make the count. You had interference from Flair, which was to be expected. I mean, Triple H used a belt. Triple H used a low blow. Triple H went through like 2 or 3 referees. Triple H did everything he could possibly do to get the belt off of Batista, and it didn't work. The match would end with a Batista bomb, but it was stupid because it was that whole, and I've talked about this before. I can't remember which video it was that I talked about it, but you know how Undertaker has his last ride spot, and like you get on top of the Undertaker in the corner, you start punching him, and then he gives you the last ride. Well, that was the spot that happened with Triple H and Batista. Triple H was on top of Batista in the corner. Batista left out the corner with the Batista bomb, and that's how the match ended. Couple notable spots that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the spine buster on the barrier wall. I thought that was well done. Other than that, this match was nothing special. And I gave it a 3, probably being gracious, or not gracious. I can't think of the word right now. Nice. I gave it a 3 because it was definitely a passable match. It's not that Triple H and Batista have a bad match. It's just they don't have a memorable match. I mean, their only memorable match was probably their Hell in a Cell battle. And WrestleMania 21 was only memorable because it was Batista's first title reign. I think their match at Backlash was probably the tamer of their series. But yeah, I gave that match a 3. I'm going to go over my ratings very quickly one more time. Jericho and Shelton Benjamin got a 3.8. Best match of the card. Technically wise, was the best match of the card. Tag Team Turmoil got a 3. Edge and Benoit got a 3.5. Kane and Viscera got a 1. HBK and Hogan versus Muhammad Hassan have already got a 2.8. Triple H Batista got a 3. You average it up, and they got a 2.85. So 2.85, you can round it up to a 3. I think I'll leave it at 2.85 or 2.86. Or 2.9. Very average show. I mean, below average. Anything below 3 is an average show. I think what this pay-per-view suffered from is the fact that it's a single brand pay-per-view, and you had 2 segments that added nothing to the product, and I think that's the problem. And I hope this is not a reoccurring problem now that we're in the draft of 2016. Because back in 2005 and 06, you had a lot of pointless segments for filler. You're not supposed to use pay-per-view time for filler. At least have a match, even if it's a squash. At least have a fucking match. Don't do pointless segments. And I think that's what brought this pay-per-view down a little bit. But yeah, I gave this a 2.85. Backlash, that's what it was. I gotta stop doing these videos at night because I tend to be a little bit more tired and I'm not as coherent. So I apologize if I don't sound like I'm into it. But the show was kind of average, and even if I'm tired, if I'm into a show, you'll see it in my emotion. But anyway, this has been episode 35, man. I'm Warren Freeman. You guys have a wonderful night.